Everybody, welcome back to a new day in CS2 case market coverage. We're just going to jump right into it today. Here with the older, lower priced rares. Here starting at the clutch case, now sitting at about 58 cents. This is up from where it started really just over a couple weeks ago, staying stagnant at around 50 cents for a long time. Now seeing really good growth all the way up to just under 60 cents right now. So clutch case is looking good. CS20 case is looking good, up to 83 cents. It just had jumped to 80 from in the lower 70s just a few days ago. Prisma case still sitting at around 86. Prisma 2 at 97. Not a lot of change on those. Now with the danger zones, we've seen a huge jump in the last couple of days. I thought it was big when it jumped from 1 to 105. Now it's 108. Again, look at this. Within really just the last week, we've seen a tremendous amount of growth. An 8-cent growth on this, which there's a lot of these still in circulation. So 8 cents worth of growth on these for that is it's actually really good. So, and if you just go ahead and look at what they've done over the last month, just absolutely skyrocketing the last month. This has been a tremendous December, and it's going to be a huge January in 2025 as a whole for the case market. If we come out here, look at the shadows, the horizons, the falchion case, not a lot of movement on any of these cases yet. It's still staying stagnant around where they currently are. Obviously, the Falcons have moved a lot in the last week, but as per the last couple days of coverage, we've seen the Falcons kind of stay still here. But like I said, still have gone up overall within the last week or so. So still looking on those to keep moving up over time. Now, if we look at the revolvers, again, they've kind of stayed still. Um, Obviously, they've gone up too within the last month, but within the last few days or so, we're saying I've stayed relatively still around this 280, 283. But it actually, I take that back because this is actually only the first few that are listed on the market here. And once these go, it's going to be back up to about 295. So actually about a 10-cent jump in the last week. But when it climbs back down to these 282 prices where we've seen it, the whole week, um, it makes me, when I see it, think, oh, hasn't moved too much. But then when I click on it, yeah, it is still moving. So keep your eye on that one, folks. Let's look at this wildfire, see what this has been doing. I've not been keeping my eye on this too much. A little bit of a jump within the last week, especially starting at 290 up to at 1.313, now sitting at around 307. But probably after these quick sales, we'll go back up to around 313 or more. So those are gaining. They're an operation case. Same with these Operation Vanguard cases, which I know these actually have pretty bad skins, so I get why these are pretty low still. But I would not put it past these to eventually climb up to $8 within 2 to 4 years easily, easily. Like I just don't see it not happening. If we look at the lifetime on these, yeah, they were way low in the beginning, like every case was. Awesome hikes and now continuing their upward trajectory can really only go up because there's a limited number of these rare cases, especially the operations. The operations specifically, I believe this is true with the Vanguard case too. Uh, but with operations specifically, they are discontinued, not just rare, discontinued. So it literally like if somebody wants to make the argument that because rare cases still drop in extremely low numbers, it's a bad investment because it's eventually people are going to stop buying them, and then you could make the argument, but I don't think it's valid at all. Um, but with these discontinued, you literally cannot even make that argument because there is an only set supply and they're not dropping. So with the rares, it's basically the exact same concept, and they drop in such low numbers that you're never even going to notice a real big difference from drops to the actual economy of the cases generally. So, anyways, back to these chromas here. Let's take a look at where the chromas have been moving. This Chroma 3 specifically, obviously had a huge month. We talked about this earlier in a couple videos. But still climbing here on the week. I mean, started the week around 322 up to 355. Holy smokes. Big movement on the Chroma 3. And it's not just the Chroma 3, it's every single Chroma where we've been seeing these spikes. The Chroma 2, I guess, particularly hasn't gone up quite as much. starting at about 335 up to about three. Actually, I'm take that shit back up to 387 now and 395. It's sitting at so big jumps for the chromas for the gammas. We've already talked about those. Um, Now some of these other discontinued cases are staying stagnant. This is because I think they actually absorbed their value really quickly. Like the shattered web case, like I think a lot of people did buy into these early on and it caused it to go all the way up to $4, but it really should have only just been sitting at about two during the time. Um, is my estimation because if you look at like how many got sold on some of these days, like 25,000 on that day, thousands and thousands. Whereas in the earlier days, it's not moving quite as fast. Like you can see it's kind of 3, 4x what it was doing here in when it was a little bit cheaper. So what I feel like happened with a case like this was, again, a lot of buying up here, driving the price up, and now it's staying stabilized because it's not an absolutely crazy case in terms of cases or in terms of skins or anything like that. And even though it's discontinued, I think it's holding its value at $4. I expect it to do this for a short while, but I don't think it's never going to take off again because there's only a limited number of these. They will take off when the supply starts getting rare, but I just don't think it's quite yet. But because cases generally tend to hold their value in the market once they reach it, it's still sitting in around that $4 range. So now, and you like same thing with some of these older ones, like the Shattered. Why I say that is because the Shattered Web and the Operation Phoenix case are about like a very. I was gonna name the years, but I'm not exactly sure. But if you look, that's Container Case 277. This one, the Phoenix case, was Container Series 11. So this is a way older case, and yet it's only about 40 cents above the Shattered Web. Um, I think we're gonna really start seeing a lot of growth on these soon. And it's part of the reason why I say like Shattered Web might not be seeing a takeoff on growth for quite some time. But I think these older ones that are really starting to genuinely dwindle in number, because like with things like the Shattered Web, I think there's a lot in investor inventories. But this is a much older case, and while there is still some in investor inventories, I'm sure it's far less than the Shattered Web case. So we're really starting to see a lot of movement on this one within the last like week or so. We started at 469, got up to 520 at one point. Now sitting at around 476 and whatnot right now. So nothing too crazy in terms of if you want to look at the last week starting from 475 up to 476, it's not like out of this world, but overall, I mean, if you look at the growth pattern on these, um, we're going up there. So I think this one's easily going to take back up once these first cases here sell. And you're really going to see this Phoenix case take off as well as a lot of the other older weapon operation cases. So yeah, just keep your eye out on that. We're not going to get too much into these higher priced cases just because it's much more difficult to invest in these, though you definitely still can if you want to. Feel free. But always do your own research, folks. I just want to thank you guys all for coming out to another tremendous day of coverage. We've been seeing growth in a lot of different places in the market, some slight spots of stagnation, but honestly, the way we've been seeing the last month go and the way the market is heading, I don't know where we're going to be at the start of 2026. And I'd say in 4 years from now, we're really going to be seeing a boosted market. So get in while you still can, while it's still kind of early. It's not still 3 cent early, but it is still very early. And I just want everybody to get in that can make some money here in about 4 years' time or so. So thank you all for coming out. And we're just here to cover the market every single day. Thank you for coming out so that I can do it another day. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out, folks.